All right, y'all, it's Wednesday. It's 7 p.m. We're live, and you're watching Buster Unmasked, episode 17. And guess what, guys? We got a great show for you tonight. I got some good news. I got some bad news. The good news is we got an awesome show coming up. We got one of the top dudes in the whole territory, JPJ, Jack Parker Jr. He's going to be here. And then we're going to round the show out talking to Big T-PAYNE from Premier Pro Wrestling this Friday night, May 19th at the Dyer Fire Department in Dyer, Tennessee. Premier Pro Wrestling versus New South Pro Wrestling. These companies are going to fight it out to see who is the very best in Tennessee. Look, guys, the bad news is no co-host today. West Coast Mike hit me up a little earlier, about 2 o'clock, and he had some family issues and told me he probably wouldn't make the show. Hit me up just a few minutes ago and told me for sure that he wasn't going to make it. Look, we're going to keep right on rolling like we always do, but we do want to send a big shout out to West Coast Mike, to him and his family. We wish them all the best. We hope everything turns out fine, and we'll see you next time, my brother. Guys, look, I want to talk about APW for a few minutes. This past Saturday night in Palestine, Arkansas, these guys sold over 500 advance tickets for this show. That's crazy. This company here is a company I've been saying for a while that you need to really look out for. I want to see how far this company can take it. They sold, I don't know the exact number, but last time I heard it was upwards of 500 advance tickets for a show they had. Now, this happened last Saturday night in Palestine, Arkansas. But this is a company, they draw great crowds everywhere they go. They have their stuff together. I want to see where APW can take this thing to. This is a good company that everybody out there needs to watch out for. This company could be, hey, in another couple of years, this company could be on TV, and there's no telling what they could be doing. They've got a hell of a fan base. They've got a hell of a fan following. The guy who runs the show, I don't know him personally, but from what I can tell, he's got his shit together. He knows what he's doing. They draw good crowds. They promote well. Hey, this is a company, APW, out of Marianna, Arkansas. Keep your eyes out for these guys, y'all. There's no telling where these guys can go. Look, guys, I ain't got a whole lot of news other than that, but what we do have, there's a bunch of shows coming up. Starting tomorrow night, look, tomorrow night, Pro Wrestling Mid-South, they're running Jackson, Tennessee on a weekly basis now. They're trying to open Jackson up. Anybody around Jackson, tomorrow night, go check out Pro Wrestling Mid-South, y'all. It's a good show. I had never been to one of their shows live, so I can't say that from a live standpoint, but look, they run Thursday, is it Thursday in Jackson? Yes, Thursday in Jackson, Friday in Ripley, and Saturday, of course, in Dyersburg at the Pro Wrestling Mid-South Arena. Go check these guys out. They're running a lot of shows. They've got a lot of killer talent. Go check them out. Look, Friday night, there's a ton of big shows going on. Like I just said, Premier Pro Wrestling, Dyer, Tennessee. Premier Pro Wrestling versus New South Pro Wrestling. These two companies have come together, and they have put some of the best talent from each company against each other, match for match. Something I hadn't really seen around this territory. Sometimes there are some joint company shows, but not quite like this. This show here is for bragging rights, I think. These two companies decided, hey, let's put it all on the line and see what happens. Also, Osceola, Arkansas, every Friday night, just like always. They got a big show Friday night. I know that our guest, JPJ, he's going to be taking on No Pity Smitty. I want to say it's a unification match because JPJ is actually the current heavyweight champion of MCW, but they just had a tournament to crown a legacy world heavyweight champion at MCW a couple of weeks ago, and No Pity Smitty won that. So these two big giant guys are going to come together and butt heads to see who really is the champion of the world in MCW. Also, you got Pro Wrestling Mid-South, like I said, in Ripley. They're running Friday in Ripley. You've got MIW in Middleton, Tennessee. Hey, a lot of good talent over there. This show runs every Friday night. Any of you guys around Middleton, go check it out. Good wrestling, a good show. You won't be disappointed. Let's move on to Saturday night. We got TIWF as always every Saturday night in Trenton, Tennessee. Hey, always something crazy going on at TIWF. Every Saturday night, there's always something going on. There's no telling what Randy Bird's going to come up with and do. Pro Wrestling Mid-South, Dyersburg, Saturday night also. That's their home base. If you want to go check out that show, that's the show to go check out. You are at their home base, so that should be all the bells and whistles. You should get their very best show right there. Non-Stop Wrestling Alliance in Paris, Tennessee. They're going to be running Saturday night. Hey, a lot of wrestling going on around here. They'll be in Paris, Tennessee Saturday night. Also, back to Arkansas, TNR Wrestling's going to be in Leachville, Arkansas this Saturday night. Go check that out. There's a ton of good talent on that show. And you can't forget OCW out of Hoxie, Arkansas. They run every Saturday night, too. They got a good show. Go check them out. There's a lot of wrestling going on around this territory, guys. There's a lot of wrestling. There's a lot more shows. I just don't know them all. If any of y'all want to send me something, let me know about your show. Go right ahead, send me a message. I'll do my best to get it on when we do this. But there's a ton of independent wrestling going on around the territory. Go check it out. Look, guys, we're waiting on our first guest to get in, but we got some comments already. We got Alicia Wayne. She said, hand pink waving. Well, thank you, Alicia. We appreciate you for watching the show. I remember you commenting last week. We appreciate your support, and thank you very much. Next comment, we've got Crystal Sharble. Let's go MCW and Smitty. There you go. They're starting to pick sides at MCW. JPJ is usually a big fan favorite in most places he goes, but there we go. We got people pulling for Smitty. That's going to be a clash of the Titans. They called the tournament Clash of the Titans, but this right here is definitely going to be a Clash of the Titans with these two big guys. Alicia Wayne's back, and she says MCW rocks. She's right. MCW does rock. MCW's got a show that's been going on for a long time. Almost 30 years, man. Every Friday night, pretty much. I don't know that there's any other show anywhere near around here that comes close to that. I just don't. We got the barbecue man. He says EPW in Booneville, Mississippi, and you are right. I don't know how I missed EPW. It's one of my favorite shows lately. I've been watching their product for a couple of months now, and I'm really digging EPW, and so I don't know how I left that one out. Guys, there's just so much wrestling going on around here. There's a ton of it. I mean, there's show after show after show. Crystal Sharp will come back. She said AWA in Blyville this Saturday night. Can't wait. Another show I missed. AWA, they've been running Blyville on a regular basis at least once a month lately. They've had some good shows there. Here a while back, they drawed a pretty damn good crowd. Several hundred people. I heard estimates of maybe 500. It's been a couple of months now. So, guys, there's a ton of wrestling going on. I don't know. Just go out and support independent pro wrestling around your territory. Look, guys, you know, I've been seeing a lot of talk and a lot of comments about pro wrestling, sport, or entertainment. And, you know, out of all these years from the minute Vince McMahon coined the phrase sports entertainment, all these years, I never ever crossed my mind to look up the definition of sports and just see what the actual definition was. But hold on, guys. Obviously, new day, didn't have to look it up, but I did Google it. But I'm going to do right now is I'm going to Google this for you guys. I want y'all to hear the definition of sport. What is the definition of the word sport?
According to Oxford Learner's Dictionaries, spork, noun, SPK, spurk, a tool that has a shape like a spoon but with pointed parts like a
Wrong thing. Hold on, guys. It said sport. What is the definition of the word sport?
Here's the definition of sport. An activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment.
All right, guys, there you go. An activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. So, pro wrestling, it falls right under that dictionary. I mean, it falls perfectly under those lines. But what that made me do, there was another word in there, the word compete. So after I got this definition and I figured out, because in my mind, when you say the word sport, I feel like the word sport means somebody's actually trying to win or lose. Obviously in pro wrestling, that's not really the case. But once I did this and Googled it, pro wrestling fits so perfectly under the word sport. So now let's take it one step further and Google the word compete. What is the definition of the word compete?
Here's the definition of compete. Strive to gain or win something by defeating or establishing superiority over others who are trying to do the same.
All right, you heard it, guys. The word compete. Strive to gain or win something by defeating or establishing superiority over others who are trying to do the same. Now, obviously in pro wrestling, nobody's trying to win or lose because we already know who's going to do that. But let's dig a little deeper into that. Here's the thing. People are competing in pro wrestling. Guys are competing for spots. They're out there competing to see who has the best match. Who's actually the best talent out there? Who is the best talent on the roster? The best talent don't always get the best spots. It don't seem to work out that way always. But when you put these two together, you know, I 100% believe that pro wrestling in general is way more entertainment than it is actual sport. But by these definitions, you have to admit it falls under both, because even though you're not trying to win or lose, you are competing for superiority over each other by having better performances, being a better wrestler than the next guy, and getting the top spots. And so, in a sense, you are always competing in the wrestling business. So, you know, I'll be honest with you. I think Vince McMahon, I 100% surely believe now that he had somebody look up these definitions of these words. It definitely sports before he ever coined sports entertainment, because, like I said, I always took it that when you said the word sport, that meant somebody was actually trying to win or lose. Somebody was trying to beat somebody. It's up for everybody's got their own opinion. I love pro wrestling. I love good pro wrestling no matter what it is, whether it's more entertainment. As long as the entertainment's good, I'm good for it. But at heart, I like hard-nosed pro wrestling. That's how I was brought up. That's how I was brought in. And, you know, that's what I like. But I like it all. I don't discriminate against either style. Guys, we got a comment from the barbecue man. He says, but pro wrestling is much better and taken more seriously when it's presented as a serious sport. I'm with him on that. I 100% believe that pro wrestling, I like it when pro wrestling's taken seriously, but the sad fact is that that's few and far between nowadays. Pro wrestling has been, I mean, it's entertainment. Even at its base, even back in the days from the very first time, obviously, even from the very first matches, even shoot matches back in the day, hooker style, it was still entertainment more than it was sport because you were doing it in front of people and entertaining people with what you were doing. So, wrestling is entertainment at heart, but I do like it when it's presented more as a serious sport than a more just pure comedy. But if it's good, I like it all, guys. It's just simple as that. If any of you guys have any comments about that, just send them on in. Crystal Sharp will come back and she said, it is only good when there is an actual story told, in my opinion, and that's true. I 100% do not believe most people watch wrestling for the matches. Most people watch wrestling for the stories. The matches are just part of the vehicles to tell these stories. So, without a good story, a wrestling match is meaningless no matter how good it is. Because, I mean, you're not really competing to beat that guy. You may be competing to beat him in the next spot and to prove that you're a better wrestler, but the outcome is obviously predetermined. And without the stories, man, would pro wrestling really be anything without the stories? As far back as you can remember, there's been stories in pro wrestling. Even in the old days, there were still a few stories being told in the pro wrestling industry. So, it's up for you to make your judgment and your opinion. I gave you mine. I like all wrestling. It's as simple as that, guys. I like all wrestling. And, everybody has to make their own opinion about what they like about it. We got another comment coming up from Brandon Hatcher. He says, wrestling needs stories and not just spots. And yes, that's 100% true. Here's the thing. Back in the day, the spots were just things you did to help tell the story. Now, spots are their own fucking thing, man. And there's too much just spots. I want to know why you doing what you're doing. I don't just want to see you do this shit because you can and because it looks cool. I want to know why you did it. I want to know what your motivation behind doing this, I like, but don't get me wrong, as a wrestler, I like running good spots, but I like for them to make sense within the match that I'm working right then. I like my spots to further my story that I'm trying to tell right at that point, not just spots for the sake of running spots, y'all. Guys, I don't know what's going on. Hadn't heard anything from Big Jack Parker. He was supposed to have been on here at like 7:05. He's running late, I guess. I don't really know. I hadn't heard anything. But look, we got another guest supposed to come on. T-PAYNE. T-PAYNE, if you're watching, man, and you want to, why don't you log on in, dude, and we'll get on to the meat of the matter with Premier Pro Wrestling versus New South Pro Wrestling, because that's going to be a huge show. That's one of the biggest shows around this area. These two companies, I don't know how they came together, how they worked this out, but they did, man. So that's going to be one hell of a show right there. Like I said, there's a ton of wrestling. Ton of wrestling going on around the Mid-South area, around the territory. And guys, send me some messages in. Send me some comments in. What do y'all want to talk about? Send me some questions. Right now, I'm just killing time. Looks like it's live, so it's one of them nights, dudes. Girls and guys, it's the first time it's happened. So far, everybody showed up on time when they were supposed to. Mike fell out earlier. Jack Parker's not here yet. I hadn't heard anything from him, so I don't know what's going on. So if y'all got any comments or any questions y'all want to ask me, just send them in. I'm here for them. Look, let's talk MCW for a while. Osceola's Mid-Southern Championship Wrestling, man. Look, they got a lot of killer talent. Not only do you got big Smitty going against Jack Parker, but Derek King is facing Ray Ray. And they're squaring off for the junior heavyweight title of MCW. So that should be a good one too. Look, both of these guys are longtime veterans. Derek King has obviously got an experience advantage, but Ray Ray's been in this business over 20 years, so does Derek King have that big of an experience advantage on him? I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see what happens this Friday night. Look, Crystal Sharp will come back, and she said, let's talk about astonishing Austin Mulitalio, or if that's, how do y'all say it as a heel now? She says spectacular. What do I think about Austin Mulitalio as a heel now? She says spectacular. You know, I actually have not got to see him live yet or even see any footage of him as a heel, other than I've seen some pictures and stuff he's posted with some comments. I like him as a heel. I think he'll be a great heel. Look, he's a good-looking kid. He's young. He's in shape. He's a perfect, arrogant-ass heel. Without a doubt, he is. I think he will 100% be a great heel. Look, he's a good-looking guy, so he's automatically going to get heat, man. He wears a fucking big-ass white fur coat out like Reggie B. Fine used to. I think he's going to do great as a heel, truthfully. I actually can't wait to see him live somewhere, or just see some of his heel footage and just see, because to this point, I only know him as a good guy. And he's a good guy, too. The fans love him, but I think he's probably got a little bit of arrogance about him that once we start seeing come through, I think he's going to really shine as a heel, you know. Really shine as a heel. Look, there's a lot of good talent around this territory, guys. A lot of good talent out there. Crystal says he will be in Blytheville Saturday, so there you go. Any fans around Blytheville that wants to go see the astonishing Austin, go check him out at the AWA show in Blytheville Saturday night. He's worth admission on his own, guys. Go check this guy out and see what you think. Send me some feedback. Like I said, there's a ton of killer talent around here. Man, you got a young guy. He also works at AWA, mostly, named D-Lo. Look, man, this guy is a second-generation wrestler. His mom was a wrestler. His dad was a wrestler. His sister's a wrestler. He's a wrestler. He's one of the most underrated guys around this whole territory. Without a doubt. And there's a few guys around here that's underrated, but he's one of the most underrated guys. When this guy's on, everything he does looks awesome. His stuff is snug. It looks good. He lays it in. And, man, this guy can go in the ring. He can really go. We got the barbecue man back now, and he says Jason Genesis is a great talent at EPW and TIWF. He's the TIWF Prince and Premier, and that's right. Look, Jason Genesis is the current EPW heavyweight champion. He's also the current Premier Pro heavyweight champion. He's been showing up at TIWF. He could have his sights set on that heavyweight title. Look, this guy here is a guy that, go see him now while you can, because there's a big chance that in a year or 2 or 3, the only way you'll be seeing him is on TV at one of the big shows. He looks good. He's professional. He's good in the ring. He seems to be, from everything I know, he's dependable as hell. I've never heard of him not showing up anywhere he's booked. This is one of the top tier guys around the territory you need to look at, because he may not be around here in the next couple of years. He could be somewhere else. He could be like Blake Christian. You know, once he spreads his wings, man, and he starts flying, there's no telling where he could end up. Awesome dude. Like you said, you can go check him out this Friday night at Premier Pro Wrestling. He'll be facing one of the New South guys. Like I said, he's the Premier Pro Heavyweight Champion. So that's going to be a big match. You can check him out pretty regular at TIWF. He's been there on and off the last few weeks here and there. And he's also the EPW Heavyweight Champion, and you can watch him on EPW every week. I want to say the show comes on Sunday mornings on YouTube. Go check this dude out, y'all. Let me think about other talent around. Look, guys, there's a couple of young guys at TIWF called Black Ink. Young guy by the name of Tyrell Miller and another young guy by the name of John. Look, these two guys are young. Tyrell's a little further advanced than John, but John's not far behind. They are one hell of a tag team. They're young, they're eager, they're willing to learn. And right now, they are the current TIWF Tag Team Champions. I hadn't been to TIWF in a couple of about 3 weeks, but they are the TIWF Tag Team Champions. Look, guys, we got a guest in the waiting room. We got T-PAYNE. I'm going to go on and get this last comment out first before we bring him on. Crystal Sharble says, Sarge is my favorite to see at TIWF. He is a fun talent. And she's right. Sarge is always 100% entertaining. No question about it. Sarge has been around for a long, long time. He's one of the top veterans around the territory. It's as simple as that. If you want to be entered, Sarge can do everything. If he's a good guy, he can make you love him. If he's a bad guy, he can make you hate him. He can make you cry. He can make you laugh. If you want to be entertained and you want a good show, go check out Sarge. All right, guys, look. I don't know what happened to JPJ. I hadn't heard nothing yet or seen nothing yet, but we got the man from Premier Pro Wrestling here. The one and only T-PAYNE, so let's get him up here.
What's up?
Payne, what's up, my brother?
Man, been busy.
Dude, man, I'm glad you, I sent the bat signal out to you by word, man. It's going to be a long time filling the whole hour with just me, dude.
Yeah, well, I got a message a while ago. I've had my... Hold on, we lost the mic. Hold on.
No, you're good. I got you.
All right. Yeah, I got a message a while ago from somebody. They were like, I think you need to go help Buster. He's struggling right now to keep
really,
going
man,
until you get on there.
Look, man, we had Mike fall out. He had some issues going on. He hit me up at 2:00 and told me he couldn't make it, which I'm used to that. I can do the show. But, man, when Jack Parker didn't show up on me, and I hadn't heard nothing, so I don't really know what the issue is there, why he didn't show up or come on. But, hey, T-PAYNE, look, man, it just gives us more time. We can talk about Premier Pro Wrestling versus New South Pro Wrestling this Friday night, Dyer, Tennessee, the Dyer Fire Department. Man, look, I'm going to ask you straight up, man. How did this show come about, dude?
Man, I don't know, really. Patrick O'Malley, he did a show with me, and then I've been seeing him down at EPW some, and he was talking about it, and then obviously doing Liberty Pro, I've been running into Walker Hayes and Allison, and obviously they work down there also. And the more I talked to them about it, I was like, man, I want to do a joint show, but I don't want to do a joint show with what we got here. I mean, not docking nobody, you know what I mean? But hell, all these guys work together anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to do something, let's do something that's never been done right here.
I think you did it, man. Look, like I said, ever so often we get a joint show where two companies work together to put on a show, but not quite like this. This is a show where you two companies are coming together, and every single match on the card is a company versus company match. And there's what, like
Go
10
ahead.
matches?
10 matches. Yeah,
10
it's
matches
gonna
on
be
this card.
huge. The show's gonna start at 7:30. I mean, we're gonna have to start on time because I mean it's gonna be a long night.
Yeah, man, y'all got some hellacious matchups. Do you got a card you can run down for us to kind of? I put you on the spot.
Well, I was actually I was gonna be more prepared and have it wrote. Well, then I got the message and I wasn't prepared yet.
Dude.
But yeah, let's give a quick rundown. Let's see here where we need to start. We got Tyler Franks versus Markel Harris. I mean, that one's going to tear the house down. And then we got let's see here. Perky Will is actually going to be out of this one. He has some knee trouble and he is going to have some work done on his knee. So he is going to be out of commission. In his place is going to be Logan Stunt. So we're going to have Logan Stunt versus Rolando Perez. And I mean, that one right there is going to absolutely tear the house down.
Well, look, T-PAYNE, kind of familiarize us with some of these New South guys that you know a little something about, because me, I'm not that familiar with them. I do see some of their flyers and stuff on Facebook and stuff. I know they're doing a lot of big shows around a lot of places. They're a heavy duty company on up in Tennessee. So, but I really don't know much about the talent. I'm going to familiarize myself more with them from this point on. But do you know much about these guys?
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I don't have a background on them. I know about as much as you know, Buster. With that being said, I mean, several of their talents are working for NWA.
Yeah.
And some of them are working for Game Changer Wrestling. I mean, if you know anything about wrestling, you ought to know a little bit about these guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're definitely out there, and I mean, they're amazing talent.
Yeah, y'all got one of the top ladies in wrestling period right now going to come in for the show Friday night, right?
I mean, in my opinion, probably one of the top ladies on the independent scene right now. I mean, she's making moves all over the place, and that's Kenzie Page.
That's right. Like when I said top wrestling, I meant AEW, WWF too. She's one of the top ladies, period, at least in America. You know,
she's going to make a name for herself before that's all said and done. I mean, I fully believe she's going to have a A1 spot to go wherever she wants to go.
Yeah, she got a lot of talent. And there are a lot of talented guys because, like I said, I don't know a lot about them. I have seen a little bit of footage on a couple of them, but not much. But I'm really looking forward to the show Friday to checking all this out, man. Look, what's your goal for Friday night? Obviously, you want Premier Pro to come out on top of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look at it as best company wins, and for me, I mean, in Premier Pro Wrestling, it's gonna be a win no matter what happens.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. I'm worried about having enough space for people on this one. You know, y'all been drawing some really good crowds, but I think this one, I think you may have to open up all the big garage doors and sell people tickets if they're willing to stand up and watch from the outside, man.
Hey, look, I mean, you know, we sat there and pondered on the ticket prices. You know what I mean? I mean, because you don't see those ticket prices around here much, and it was one of them things where I talked to a few people that obviously has sponsored the show, and I've got the regulars that has helped me along the way. And then we had Tate Family Foods. They actually did a large sponsorship. So
that's
as far as the talent goes, I mean, we've about got the talent, you know, where, I mean, it's not paid for, but we don't, I ain't got to have a large crowd to pay for it.
Yeah. But obviously we want a large crowd.
I obviously want a large crowd. And I think, by all means, it's going to be a good night. I have maybe this is just a rough figure because we don't sell advanced tickets. I reserve the seats in hopes that they're going to show up. And with that being
Yeah.
said, they have been showing up. And right now, I have about 46 reserved seats, and there's only 60 front row available. We've got probably 25 second and third row reserved.
There you go.
I mean, it's gonna be a good night. There's no doubt. And I hope it packs out. If it packs out, we have a good response. We're gonna do round two.
Round two.
If we can make this work and it all comes through, I'm gonna shoot for a round two.
I'm anxious to see that. I'm really anxious to see this show. Look, this is a big deal for around here. Like I said, we get some joint company shows where two companies kind of combine and they run a show, but they don't run it head up against each other, match for match, guy for guy, talent for talent, win for win. You know what I mean? So this is a big deal, man. It's a whole different ball game from what I've seen anywhere around here anytime in the distant past, dude. It's going to be a treat for the fans around here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not boosting it because it's my deal or nothing like that. But I mean, this is absolutely going to be the biggest show put on probably all year long.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be hard to beat it, man. I'll say that. It's going to be hard for somebody to outdo it. Like you said, it ain't just, man, this is a whole different roster that people around here are not used to seeing. Live for sure, or on a regular basis anyway. So it's going to be a treat. You're going to come out and you're going to see match for match. These two companies go at it head to head.
It's going to be best versus the best every match.
Well, let me ask you this. Are there any titles on the line, or is this strictly for just bragging rights?
This is strictly bragging rights.
That's what I figured, man. Look, the barbecue man says, love me some T-PAYNE.
That's a JJ.
You got your fans out there, man. They love y'all.
Yeah.
They love
JJ
y'all.
follows us around too, man. JJ's been watching me since I broke into this thing.
Well, look, we got some time. Give us a little of your history, Payne. Tell us. Here's the one thing I ain't never heard anything about how you broke into business, really, or anything like that. So why don't you give us a little of your history?
All right. So a quick rundown. I mean, obviously, most of the time, if you get in wrestling, it's because you've liked wrestling. And so I don't know. I was probably I'm gonna say 16, going on 17, and my dad calls me one day and he said, you ain't gonna believe this. He said, there's a show that runs down here in Trenton, Tennessee. It's wrestling. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah. He said, you really need to come check it out. Well, I just blew it off. I didn't go that week. Well, the next week he's pushing for me to go down there. So I just go down there and see what's happening. You know what I mean? After the show, I was interested and I spoke with a Tank Turner. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was.
I know the name.
He was in with Randy, and obviously, I mean, he was an older guy. That's just who they directed me to, and he obviously wasn't interested in training me, but he did point me in the right direction. He was like, "If you're looking for some training, you be here on Tuesday." Well, at that point, I didn't know what I was in for,
Yeah.
So I just show up, and well, obviously, I get to meet Big Brad Simpson, Jay Rage, the $1 Million Baby, which is now my wife.
That's right.
And JD Wolf. So Brad gives me the basic fundamentals, and I was training for probably 3 to 4 months under him. Well, at that point, Devon Day and Kilo showed up. And that really changed the game for me because obviously, for whatever reason, they seen something in me that they didn't see in just everybody. You know what I mean? And they took the extra time with me, and they started running a deal called the Hero Killers, and they kind of took me under their wing for that. And that's actually when I become the first ever TIWF heavyweight champion. or not the first ever, but that was the first time for me.
You became the heavyweight champion. Right?
That's correct.
Dude, I'm gonna have to go ahead, Payne.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm gonna have to get you on a bullshitting with Buster, so we can tell this story, and you can tell it how you want to, and you got plenty of time to tell the whole story. Because I was thinking about it the other day. You know, I had Baby on a couple of months ago.
Absolutely.
She was fabulous on here, dude, or on bullshitting with Buster. And I got to thinking. Me and my wife was talking. I told her, I said, I said, I've never heard anything about T-Payne's origin story or anything. And so, dude, we're going to have to bring you on to a bullshitting with Buster sometime so you can tell your story, dude, the way you want to tell it.
Well, look, I'll tell you this. When that does happen, I'll tell you the truth and nothing but the truth.
Hey, we'll get it done, man. When we can set it up, the schedule works for both of us, we'll get it done. I'd be looking forward to it. Look, JPJ popped in, but look, I don't want you to go nowhere. You want to stay with us?
Absolutely. Let's get on it.
Okay, the show's kind of reversed today. Normally I have a format, but hey, it's live, so you roll with it. So look, guys, JPJ's in the waiting room. This guy here has been one of the top draws around this territory for the past several years. He's a multi-time heavyweight champion across multiple companies, and he is currently a heavyweight champion in 2 companies, MCW and TIWF. Without any further ado, let's bring him on, JPJ.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's going on? Man, I am so sorry. My internet sucks ass. I'm not gonna lie. So, but no, I've been trying to figure this thing out. I guess I'm not as technologically advanced like I want to be. So, but I'm here.
Dude, I appreciate you showing up. I knew something had to be going on. I know you're a dependable guy. If you say you're going to do something, you always do it. Look, before we even get started talking wrestling, man, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and the bottom of every single wrestling fan's heart around this territory for growing that fucking beard back, dude. I'm going to be honest with you. Hey, dude. Thank you so much, man. Look, it was a couple of months ago, and I was at MCW filming. And so where I film at by the entrance, you got that little loading spot right there, and you come out the ramp. Well, when you come out, I'm actually never see y'all until I never see you from the front, only from the back until you get in the ring. So your music hits, crowd's popping, you come out, the crowd explodes. Nothing's different, man. That's same JPJ. That's what I'm used to. You get in the ring, all of a sudden you turn around, dude, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? Dude, I'm like, it was like a clone that wasn't fully finished yet. Man, it took me a second. I had to double look, and I'm like, is that JPJ? And then I said, because I can't see great anyway. I'm like, damn, man, look, here's my first thought. I said, damn, this motherfucker looks like a baby hamster, all pink and hairless and shit, dude. Look, man, when you turned around, I've never seen you without the beard. I'm like, it took all, it was like a body snatcher. Your face was kind of blank, man.
Right. Yeah, so let me tell that story for a second. So I'm in the middle of getting ready for Friday night. It's early afternoon on Friday, and I'm shaving, shaving my head, clipping my beard. I realized it was kind of long, and I kind of wanted to shape it up, and I start shaping it up, and I don't remember, somebody hollered at me. I don't know if it was my daughter or my son. One of them hollered at me, and I just kind of turned and said, "What?" And when I did, I clipped it really short. I kept trying to shape it back up. It just didn't work. I said, well, let's just start over. And then as soon as I did it, I was like, man, what the fuck did I just do? This is not, it wasn't cool. It took me back to high school days when I was at that 16-year-old kid without no facial hair. And I was so embarrassed. I get to the show that night. They want to take pictures. And I'm like, I don't want to take a picture. This ain't me. And
go ahead, Jack.
And, like for anybody that knows me, 5 years ago at running Beer 30, my beard was down to my belly button. So I've been, since I was 17, 18 years old, I haven't went without it. So it was weird for me too. And I'm glad it's back. It's growing in fuller. I did kind of line it up the other day or yesterday. So, but no, I'm never, if it gets to the point where I need to like shape it back up, I'll go to somebody. They can shape it, and not like get rid of all of it.
Yeah, do that, man. Don't. I will say this: without no facial hair, you are the quintessential baby face. You couldn't be nothing but a baby face at that rate.
Right.
Look, you two guys, y'all know each other, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew everybody. Look, the baby ham thing. What I also thought too, after a couple seconds, I said, he looks like he ate Chris Hollywood.
Oh God!
You did, man. You look like, because you built like both y'all built good, but you're bigger than Hollywood. And man, I looked around after first it was the hamster, and I got to look, and I thought, this motherfucker looked like he ate Chris Hollywood earlier before he come out to the show, And
right.
look, man, that takes me to where I want to kind of start at. I was watching you on another podcast a few weeks ago, and you were on with the guys from Wrestling Land.
Right.
And you were talking about your training and how you was brought in the business. One thing I didn't realize was that James Lee Booker had a big hand in at least finishing you off for your training, right?
If I'm going to be completely honest, if it wasn't for James Lee, like the JPJ or Big Jack or something like that, you wouldn't see that guy right now. I would have been. And I hate saying this, and I don't like ruffling feathers with a lot of companies, but I'd be another Hoxie guy. I'd be another guy that was pretty much stayed at OCW and worked around them smaller promotions around Arkansas because I wouldn't have been any good. They seen a guy that was just a big guy, and I was hungry. Like I wanted to learn the business, but there wasn't enough people there that had experience in the business to help me along the way. And luckily I went 3 weeks. In the third week, they were like, yeah, we want to put you, we want to start you this Saturday. And in my head, I'm like, there's no way I'm ready. Like 3 weeks in, there's no way. And just so happened James Lee was at that training session, and he was like, yeah, man, you're not ready. Come to Manila, come train with me. And in my head, I'm like, well, this is Moondog Spot, son. So, I'm going to go here.
For all the people out there who don't know, Chris Booker, Chris Hollywood, and James Lee Booker are the sons of the legendary Larry Latham, or for around here, he's probably better known now as Moondog Spot. But these guys growed up in the business. And so, it was kind of a good thing that you ran across these guys, it sounds like.
Oh man, like it's like you talk about moments in your life or moments in like your wrestling career. If it wasn't for that, like I don't know what would be sitting right here. I don't know if I'd be able to do this podcast right now if it wasn't for James Lee Booker. We had a little bit of a falling out early on after I started traveling, because I did start traveling pretty early because I wasn't happy with where I was at. I was tired of wrestling the same guy for 6 months. And, me and James kind of had a falling out over that, but, I've never not gave him the credit due, just like the other people that's come along in my career that's helped mentor me and take me farther in my career. Like, if it wasn't for James Lee, I wouldn't be, I would be half the wrestler I am today.
Well, look, Payne, jump in here, man. You the co-host tonight. I know you didn't come on. You didn't come on for that, but that's what you turned out to be. So you the co-host, man. Anything you got to ask, you jump. Don't be scared to jump right on in here. Look, I know you collect heavyweight titles, JPJ. That seems to be one thing you do. Look, Premier Pro Wrestling, man. They got a beautiful, beautiful brand new heavyweight title, man. You got any thoughts about maybe trying to collect it too?
Man, like, to be honest, that's kind of what this 2023 has turned into, because not only, you mentioned MCW, TIWF. I still am the current RWE heavyweight champion. Still
Oh,
working on
okay.
still working on a building, still working on trying to get that back up and running. So I'm still that. I mean, there's other stuff in the works. Bluff City, I'm pushing for that title. The one that that I'd really love, is the WLW title, the World League Wrestling with Leland Race up in Troy, Missouri. That's one that I have my eyes set on this year, man. But I've never been the guy that cares that much about belts, but I'm starting to realize that if a company puts their stock in you and says, hey, you're our champion, or we want to push you towards the championship, then hey, man, like that's an honor, so I go for them. Like I wear the necklace like Rodney Mack did, that had all the chain on it, that had all the belts. I've carried the little red wagon. I've carried them on my arms. I don't feel like bring it on, because normally when you're getting a shot at a title, or somebody's putting you in that position, you're wrestling the top guys in the company, and
Yeah.
it's funny because me and T-PAYNE have actually never worked each other.
Never had that opportunity.
No, he's a guy that I've been around since American Hostile, because I never was. He was at TIWF. I was at EIW years ago. Then American Hostile with Mark Manley. That's where we met. Love the guy. I'd love to come to Premier. My booking schedule is pretty crazy coming up, starting in June. But I'm open for anything. Whether it's just coming in and having a match with T-PAYNE. I don't care. I wrestle anybody and everybody. I love to wrestle the best workers on each show, and that's what I go for. Give me a good match, give me a good story, and let's make something happen.
Well, I tell you who I'd like to see you work, and that's Damian Wayne.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Been a fan.
What's that?
I said I've been a fan of his work. I'd love to work Damian Wayne.
We can work that out. I get with you on a date for that. Maybe in July, maybe we can work that out, because he's gonna be out of commission in June.
Okay.
But with that being said, back to talking about you being a heavyweight champion everywhere. Do you know why you're the reason? You know why the reason is you're the heavyweight champion everywhere? In my opinion, because you look like a heavyweight champion. You look like a wrestler.
That's right.
How many guys look like this around here? Not many.
That's right. Let me ask you something, Payne. I mean, as a guy who you run your own company, like he just said, when a company puts their faith and belief in you, that they believe, hey, this is the guy who can tote the heavyweight title and we can build upon. From your perspective, running a company, what do you think about that? How do you what do you look for when you look at a guy and you think, man, I think this guy could be the champion? What is some of your criteria that you look for in a talent?
Man, first off, I mean, he's got to have the look, and not only the look. I mean, he's got to market the company. You know what I mean? I mean, if he's not marketing the company, who's going to? You know what I mean?
That's
He's
right.
your heavyweight champion. He's got to market the company for you. And if he don't have the look or the talent, obviously the marketing ain't starting very well.
That's right.
And right now, Jason Genesis holds that title, and I can't knock the guy. He might not have the best tactics for the situation, but hey, you need a bad guy. Every good guy needs a bad guy.
Hey, wrestling don't work if you ain't got a fucking heel. If you ain't got a good,
absolutely correct.
A good hero ain't worth a shit if you ain't got a fucking killer villain. And that's just hey, there ain't no wrestling without bad guys. It's as simple as that. You got a bunch of shit, then nobody's gonna come see.
Hey, bad guys sell tickets, good guys sell shirts.
There you go. Right. Guys, we got a comment from Big Mike Gilmore. He says he's the best announcer around. He says, hey, what's up, guys? He's the announcer for Swag. I think he also does the Nonstop Wrestling Alliance out of Paris. Appreciate you watching, Big Mike. We appreciate your support. Look, let's get a couple of comments out since we got a few. All right, this is Crystal Sharble. Got my VIP ready to see Smitty and JPJ. Let's go, Smitty. JPJ, what you think about that? Now, you're used to being the guy that all the fans are for. You used to being the fan favorite, but we got some Smitty pullers, and he's a bad guy. So, what's your thoughts on that, man?
Man, like, I've always been the guy, good or bad. Like, I love fan interaction. I love how they, if they cheer the bad guy, and boo the good guy, go ahead. Like, you're a fan. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to, to your feelings. Like, go ahead. Like, Smitty's different. I've never. Most of the time I'm in the ring with somebody either a lot smaller than me or they're not as strong as me. But, Smitty at 51 years old, I can tell you from last Friday night is probably one of the strongest guys I've been in the ring with.
Oh, yeah. Y'all going to be looking nose to nose and chest to chest for sure. Y'all going to be butting heads. Look, Crystal come back and says JPJ is definitely one of the few that look the part. And I agree with that 100%. I'm like Brian. Look, here's the true facts. You can be the greatest fucking in-ring wrestler in the world, and you might run around the territory here on the local indie scene and be the top dog. But when it comes to carrying a company and being the face of the company, like Brian says, when you're the heavyweight champion, you should be the guy who everybody else on the roster follows. You need to look the part. You need to be the part. There's a lot of guys that might look great, but then you get them in the ring and it goes to shit as soon as the bell rings. So you got to be able to handle yourself in the ring. Look, you kind of always remind me of Dr. Death Steve Williams. With some of the things you do, just the way you carry yourself, that's kind of something that's always clicked with me. I thought this guy reminds me a lot of Dr. Death. You're safe, but your shit is snug. It looks good. You do strong man shit, and for a big guy you should. Dude, man, it's just you gotta look the part, man. You have to look the part. Oh shit. Is that Zach right there?
What about it, Buster?
What's up, dude? Jackie? Hey, we got extra guests, man. We got people we didn't know we was gonna have, man. What's up, Zach?
We hit that hot tag real quick.
There you go, man. T-PAYNE had to take a piss, didn't he?
We had to go check on some kids. You know how that goes.
But look, Jack, all right, going back to Chris Booker and them, okay, when you very first started, were you singles guy or were you immediately a tag team guy?
No, the first year, I was a singles guy. I wrestled the same guy for 6 months straight. And I look back and I've seen some of the matches that people posted on YouTube, and it is like some of the most god-awful matches I've ever watched in my life. But then after about a year and a half, me and Bruce started tagging up as Beer 30. And I was a tag guy for 7 years. Almost 7 years.
I knew y'all were a tag team for a long time. I didn't realize y'all got together that early in your career.
Right, yeah.
Beer 30 was one of the top tag teams for a long time around the territory here. What? Let me ask you this. That's right. You got to have chemistry. They had the look. And Beer 30 was different. When it first come out, just the name, everything was a little different than what was going on around here, if I remember right, Go ahead, Jack.
No, it was different. And I think that's the one thing that made us stand out over, a lot of the other tag teams. We were best friends, brother-in-laws, like hung out, almost every day. So the chemistry was there. we were like-minded in the business, wanted to take it as far as it could go. It was some of the funnest times that I've had, especially on road trips, because Bruce McGowan is a hilarious guy. If anybody ever gets a chance to go on a road trip and hear stories from this man, like, he'll have you laughing. But fast forward 7 years and going on road trips wasn't fun anymore because you're like, man, I've already heard this story, or you tell it better than he does. Like, it's
Yeah, it's hard, man, especially when you're on the road and you spend so much time together, because it wasn't like y'all just were on the road. Like you said, y'all had a personal connection too. So I'm sure y'all were around each other a ton. And it can. Look, me and my brother, Sam Dollar, we couldn't, we got to where we didn't even go to, if we went to the same damn show, we took separate vehicles, man. It just, look, the first, I don't know, 5 or 6 years of our careers, everywhere we went together. And then, like you said, man, you just, and especially being brothers, man, ain't nothing get on your nerves worse than your brother, man. So we be choking each other.
well, and it also becomes like, and especially on a tag team, and even in your circumstance, and that is your real brother, but it becomes a marriage. Like, you kind of got to be married to the person there. And man, there were several times I wanted a divorce. Like, I can't do this, man. Like, it's, I'll tell you a funny story because, and he'll back it up. We were booked one weekend, and I think we had 6 shows in that weekend, starting on a Thursday night, lasting all the way till Sunday. So we had 6 shows that whole week, and I think Saturday was like 2 to 3 shows in that time frame. Well, Thursday rolls around, he calls me, he said, man, I don't mean to do this, but I can't make none of these shows. And I said, and I'm getting mad. I'm like, why? Tell me why this man done forgot his anniversary to his own wife.
Oh.
Yeah, like, he forgot it was his anniversary weekend, which is also, in return, his wife's birthday weekend. So he tells me on Thursday morning, man, I forgot this is my anniversary weekend. So I go to all these shows. So it just so happened on Saturday during lunch, I was at a show for the Luchador show out of Memphis that Reyes ran. And, all I had in my bag at the time, because I didn't have a lot of single stuff at the time. All of my stuff said Beer 30. I come out. I mean, I got my Beer 30 stuff on. Not very many people there spoke English. I didn't speak Spanish. But the one thing that got me over in that was they spoke beer.
Beer.
So, yeah, like, they seen me come out with that beer. And I was a bad guy, but by the end of it and stuff, I was the most loved guy at the show.
Hey, the universal language of beer, man. There you go.
Right.
Look, we got a few more comments. Crystal Parker says you got to be able to work, and there's no doubt about that. You got to be able to work. Once that bell rings, you got to be able to get it done in the ring. I fully believe in that. If you want to have longevity, you got to be able to work with as many different people as you possibly can and have good matches with as many of these people as you can. So, wrestling's a thing where you can't just always be you. There comes,
right.
Some matches, they're your matches. Other matches, they're other guys' matches, other people's matches. So you have to do things to make them look good. And at the end of the day, if you can't work, you're not gonna get any of this across, dude. It's just not gonna happen. We got another comment from Crystal Sharble again. She said JPJ is without a doubt an honorable man in the ring. There you go. She's pulling for Smitty, but she's admitting that you're an honorable dude in the ring and you're a stand-up guy, JPJ.
Yeah, she's lying. She knows she's pulling for me. Like,
there you go.
She can say Smitty all day long, but she knows at the end of the day that she's wishing I win. So it's okay. I know I know Crystal real well. Of course, I know the other Crystal really well too. So.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me ask you something, man. You got 2 big matches coming up this weekend.
Oh yeah.
I mean, let's just start with MCW Friday, since it's first. You got, I mean, this is the night you and Smitty are y'all unifying. Is this a unification match? And y'all, well, somebody's gonna walk out the one and only world champion for MCW.
Well, I mean that's the plan. That was the plan last Friday night, but Ray got involved, and it just didn't end the way I wanted it to. But yeah, I mean that's the plan. Unify the titles, have another belt, but then I think they're planning on getting one big unified title, which is going to be really cool. And man, like that's been the plan since I knew about the legacy title, and I knew about the heavyweight title was they wanted to unify them. So it just so happened I'm the heavyweight champion, and then you got Smitty over here as the legacy heavyweight champion. So hey, let's see who the better heavyweight is. Let's see who the man is, so to speak.
How do you think this match is going to play out Friday night?
Well, he's no Petey Smitty, and I hate to tell him, but I have no pity for him. I said it Friday night. It just so happened Ray was out there, and I made the mention. Ray's used to being on his knees, but if I get Smitty on his, my knee will turn his lights out.
That's right. I seen that knee, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful finisher. I mean, when you hit it, I don't want to take it. Look, I know you're a safe guy in the ring and shit, but what I'm sitting there looking at, man, if that motherfucker is off just a sliver, man, somebody could need a reconstruction to their face, dude.
Well, can I tell this story? Because I get asked all the time now, how did I come up with the good night knee or the night knee? And I was at American Hostile. I was wrestling Cameron Bolo or Austin Bolo, Reaper. I was wrestling him, and it just so happened it wasn't even a finisher. It was just a signature that I'd done, and I rolled him to his knees, and I popped up really fast, and I hit it, and I went for the pin. And when I was going for the pin, I could hear him snoring. Like, it just so happened it got loose, and it caught him underneath the chin, and he was out. And right about the time the ref hit 3, he woke up and kicked out. And I just was like, did he just kick out of that? And then, so we're sitting in a bar, me, Mark Manley, Justin Case, Derek King, Rude, like there's a bunch of us just sitting in a bar, and I'm hearing commotion coming from behind, and I was like, what's going on? So I turned around, and they're watching the video, and Derek was the first one. He said, I'm not fucking taking it. and Rude over there goes, I just shoot him. So, but then, Justin Case said, you put him to sleep. And like when I've done that, and when he said that, like I started thinking of things, good night knee, was the first one. And then I didn't really like saying good night in the ring before I hit it, but I like saying night night, and people just started chanting night night, and that's how I got the name the night night knee.
Hey, that's how some of the best shit happens, man. Sometimes you overthink shit. You'll fuck it up, man. Sometimes just whatever comes out lands,
Right.
It's a beautiful move. Well, look, let's move to Saturday night then. Now, look, Zach knows about TIWF. I seen T-PAYNE flirting around on the edges there. He knows a lot about TIWF. Saturday night, you're taking on. Now, this guy's kind of been on your coattails for the last month or so. Actually, a little bit more than that. He's been chasing that title, Big David Dane, and these guys here know about David Dane. So, Payne, before we even get JPJ's thoughts on this, give us your thoughts on this big match at TIWF. JPJ, TIWF heavyweight champion, taking on Big David Dane, the Mad Dog, for the TIWF heavyweight title. What's
Well,
your thoughts, Payne?
my thoughts is I hope that they got the damn ring really solid. Because them guys are gonna butt heads like probably nobody else in TIWF.
Yeah, man. David Dane's a big old cat too, man. 2 nights in a row, dude. You got guys that are nose to nose with you and toes to toes with you, man. Give us your thoughts on Dane. Give us your thoughts on how that match is gonna play out.
Well, first off, like I say this all the time, and I learned this at a seminar with Jonathan Gresham in Memphis. Gresham said, his goal was never to be the second best heavyweight in the world or second best technical wrestler in the world. My goal is not to be the second best heavyweight in the world. It's to be the best heavyweight in the world. So how do you get there? You wrestle all the heavyweights that you can wrestle, and I've known David when David first started at a little company called DXW out of Dyersburg that was ran by Mike Shaw, who was running in Brownsville, and that I can't remember what the promotion was called. Don't even get me lying on it.
SPW.
SPW, right? But I remember David from DXW, and he was a young, hungry kid then, and I've watched him grow. I keep up with wrestling, keep up with local wrestling, the international wrestling. I keep up with it. So like guys that I was in the ring with early on in my career are now, getting seasoned. And, David is a very talented big guy.
Yeah.
And I've went back, I've watched the matches with him and Zay, and they had some really good killer matches, which, I mean, I don't know anybody that can't have a killer match with Zay Washington. But I got to get in the ring with him last Saturday night. And, I talk about how strong Smitty is. David Dane snatched me up for a body slam. And, I mean, my feet were end over, they were, straight above my head when he slammed me. And, I mean, that's just, I'm 275 pounds. If you can snatch me up that fast and that quick and get me up and slam me that hard, like, you got some power.
He's a big, strong country boy. He's country boy strong. He's a big old guy, and he's a bull in the ring.
Right. But see, I played and I sometimes I have this bad habit of doing this, and and I know I do it. I kind of played the chicken shit in the match, just to try to fill him out. And I know the fans of TIWF, and I know David thinks he done something to me, like has me scared and worried. But no, I played the chicken shit just to fill him out. I know if Papa Dane gets involved and stuff, I'm going to break one of his limbs and beat him with it. But David is a really good wrestler. He will be really good. But the only problem is, like, he's not going to use me to be the catapult to be the TIWF heavyweight champion.
Well, y'all heard that. David Dane, if you're watching, he ain't gonna be no stepping stone for you, my man. You heard it from JPJ himself. Let me ask you something, Jack. Most of the time and most of the places I see you at, you're always a fan favorite. But now at TIWF, you're a bad guy. Now, here's my perspective. I don't really see where anything you actually do has changed. It's just more of the way the fans have received you.
Right.
What's your thoughts on? When you come out at TIWF, did you expect to be a good guy or a bad guy? What kind of reaction did you expect from the crowd?
Well, I mean, I really didn't expect a reaction because I'd only been at TIWF one time, that I can remember of, and it was the Zach Crow memorial show. Like right after Zach had passed, we did me and Bruce had went, and the crowd was chanting Beer 30. So, that was their first time ever seeing me or Bruce. And then fast forward, I don't know, 6 years, I go in as, a singles guy. And I mean, I didn't have yeah, you want to be loved, but I'm one of those guys, you can love me or hate me. You can, You can take me or leave me. I don't care. Like I'm going out there. I've got a job to do. My job was focused on getting to Zay Washington. I knew Zay was the fan favorite. He was the crowd that loves him. That's his home base, and so I knew what was going to happen. I knew once I called Zay out, that was it.
Yeah.
Like they're going to boo me. They're going to hate me. And then you know what? That's when you strap the rocket ship to my back and watch me do what I do best, and that's build stories, build angles that people are gonna want to see. And you know, if you want to see me get my ass whooped, I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen that many times. But you know, I'll give you the thought of like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna whoop his ass. And at the end of the day, when I'm telling you it's not gonna happen, there's a reason I'm one of the biggest guys around. There's a reason that people put me in the heavyweight title picture now. When it comes down to that, like, hey, I sit there and I told you, I said, he wasn't gonna get close. He wasn't gonna whip my ass. And I'm having more fun at TIWF than I thought I was gonna have.
T-PAYNE's a guy at TIWF and Premier Pro and around here in West Tennessee. These fans love this fucking guy. But now, a month or two ago, I seen him go to EPW, and he's a bad guy at EPW. And man, I really enjoyed the difference. I enjoyed the difference. Payne, what's your thoughts on being received differently at different places?
I mean, when you go to a new place, and I mean, you're going in to make a name for yourself, and I mean, obviously at that point you're going in to step on toes to begin with.
Yeah,
when you're stepping on toes, there's some people that just don't like that. But hey, there again, I mean, we're not there for them; we're there for us. And I mean, we got a job to do, and if we're out there winning championships, we're making more money. Making more money, we're living better. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, that's the way this business works.
Yeah, that's right. Look, guys, we got a couple of comments. We got Brandon Hatcher. He says, ready to see JPJ do what he does best. I guess that's hit that night knee, JPJ.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, we got another comment from another guy that I know all y'all know well. Big Aaron Roberts. Let's, there it goes. Let's see if I can get it up here. It should... I guess everybody's internet's working a little funky today because even mine's working funky too. All right, Big Aaron says, as long as I'm alive, you're always second.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, JPJ?
Look, the guy gets one win over me. He took the American Hostile heavyweight title from me. He gets one win over me, and automatically, and what Aaron doesn't realize is last year when he beat me for the American Hostile Championship, he was my last loss of 2022. I went, I lost 6 matches in 2022, and that's wrestling. That's wrestling some weekends 3 to 4 times a weekend. That's because I hardly ever just do a one show a weekend gig. So, I mean, Aaron, anytime you want to run it back, problem child, look, this ain't a child's game. I'm not a child. I'm a grown man. Anytime you want to run it back, I'll put the night knee into your life. You'll go to sleep, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. And then you'll take your rightful place as second. So right. You want to run your mouth and call yourself number 1 right now, go ahead. You got to win on me last year. Let's run it back.
That's a match that I'd really love to see that. That's a match that could draw money pretty much anywhere. I mean, Aaron's on a tear right now too.
Absolutely. I'm not taking nothing away from the guy. He's one, and I tell people this all the time. Him and Zay Washington, they should be somewhere right now. There should be people throwing money at their feet. Both of them are really good. Aaron's not your typical big guy. He does things that big guys don't normally do. He does things that some little guys can't even do.
That's right.
He has a style that's similar to mine, maybe a little more redefined than mine is. Mine's more of the brute style of Japanese wrestling. His is more of the redefined style of like of a move, a lot of moves, and then both of us have the Memphis part of us and the selling and the storytelling, and I mean, I'll give him, I'll take nothing away from it. Aaron Roberts is a guy that should be noticed. Somebody should be throwing money at his feet because you're not going to find very many big guys that can do what he does.
Oh yeah, y'all are like the irresistible force meets the immovable object kind of match, man. I'd like to see you guys butt heads. Look, Titanic on deck with Titanic says JPJ, 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 man. These people love you, dude. I'm sure all y'all know Titanic. T-PAYNE, do you know Titanic?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, well he's been out of the business for a pretty good while now. All right, here's another comment from Crystal Parker. She says Aaron has to be actually first to begin with. So I mean, obviously she's a little biased, but that's a match, man, that I think a lot of people would be interested in. Aaron come back now, and he says, and I'll be your next loss too, partner.
Yeah.
I see a big rematch coming on, man.
Hey, anytime. Look, I said it. Like I want to wrestle the best heavyweights in the world. Put me up against them. I don't care if they're from here. I don't care if they're from Canada, Mexico, Japan. I don't care. Put me against them. Like I want the opportunity. And like I said, right now, it doesn't get too much better than Aaron Roberts is. One of the best heavyweights, especially around here. But I've wrestled Michael Elgin. And I had 2 classics with him, and he was, in New Japan. He, TNA or Impact, a Ring of Honor heavyweight champion at one point. I've wrestled him, and I can tell you, like I've wrestled Aaron and enjoyed both the matches that me and Aaron's had recently, and they were 2 of my tougher matches, even probably tougher than the Michael Elgin match. And man, like I'm excited. Like Aaron, let's run it back, man.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, but I definitely know a place that'll book it.
Well, look, it's since you talking, Payne, Aaron ain't just he ain't just talking. He ain't. All right, hold on. My shit's going screwy. Let's try this again. Give it just a second. I guess everybody's internet's the shit tonight because mine normally don't have any problem, but
mine either, man. I spent 30 minutes trying to get on, and I'm like, I can't get on. Like, what the hell? And
dude, I spend $160 a month on fucking internet with all the different shit I do with my YouTube channel and stuff. So I'd have the enough speed to make videos faster and stuff. So I don't expect to have any fucking problems. But Payne, this is for you. Aaron Roberts said, don't forget, I beat Payne in his own company.
Man, that's absolutely, unfortunately correct. Hey, I mean, the bigger man got the best of me. I mean, hell, I'm 220. He's what, 370? I mean, he's a big old boy. And I mean, when you get in the ring with him, I promise you, you in the ring with him.
All right.
That's right. Yeah, he's a big guy, man. And like Jack said, he does shit that most big guys don't do. He can move. He can fly some too.
He's definitely, without a doubt, one of the best big men around here. I mean, there's no denying him. If you're denying him, you're really wrong.
Yeah, he's a top talent. Look, Crystal Sharble came back and says, nobody cares what you have done, Aaron. You should be on your back sleeping with JPJ standing over you. I guess there you go, Aaron. That's what she thinks of Aaron Roberts. That's how she thinks that match will come out. Look, Aaron sent another thing through, but I don't know nothing about fucking memes, so I'm gonna put it up, and y'all tell me what the fuck it means because I don't have no idea.
Look, I don't.
All right, Pete, this is your shit right here. I know you be knowing something about some emojis and shit, so Tell us what that is.
I mean, what I get out of that, I think he was praising the fact that we was giving him the props. I mean, but it's the props that he deserves. I mean, he's no doubt the biggest. I mean, one of the biggest man around. That's good. You know, I mean, he's not no pushover. He's got just in case with him. I mean, he's really on top of the world for himself too.
Yeah,
and it's not about what he's done; it's about what he's gonna do, most likely.
Yeah, man, he's been on a tear for the last, at least the last year, pretty much. He has been, you know, he's been dropping bodies pretty much everywhere he goes. He's probably on the run of his life right now so far, you know. But JPJ, at the same time, I mean, you hold 2 heavyweight titles right now, you know. Look, Payne, you was talking about running back the dual company thing. Well, I want to talk about WLW, the World Wrestling League. But Payne, this is Harley Race's company out of where now?
Troy, Missouri.
Troy, Missouri. Man,
So,
I'd love to see Premier Pro and the World Wrestling League go at it in a company versus company contest, man.
Well, I'm not 100% familiar with that, but I will definitely do some looking into that and see what we look like. But talking about company versus company and Missouri, you just keep watching, and there's some big news coming on that too.
I seen a little cryptic post yesterday or the day before that kind of maybe gave a little hint of something to come, dude. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out and seeing what happens. Look, Jack. All right, Friday night. Now you're going to be at MCW, but up here, Premier Pro Wrestling is versus New South Wrestling. Company versus company, talent versus talent, match versus match. Man, what's your thought on a show like that?
oh man, I think it's awesome. Anytime that 2 companies can work together, they bring their best talent. You have your best talent. You have a big show. Man, it's a great thing. Like, we've all been preaching for years, like a bunch of companies need to get together, have one big super show like they used to have, back in the, back in the day. And, the best wrestlers from around each company work each other and, let the better man win. And man, I love it. I hope, because, T-PAYNE's my friend and we've known each other for a while. I don't really know. I know some of the guys from New South, but, I'm definitely rooting for a Premier. Like, don't let somebody come in and invade our territory.
Yeah, I 100% believe New South is stepping into hostile territory. I mean, there's no doubt everybody up here, I believe 100% is going to be pulling for Premier Pro. But I mean, New South knew that when they entered into this thing and decided, yes, we'll do that. We'll take that challenge. They knew that they were coming into somebody else's home base. So I'm sure these guys know what to expect. I'm anxious to see how this card plays out. 10 matches on this card. I mean, like Payne said, you're going to have to start exactly on time, because that's a lot of matches through a night, man. And these aren't, I mean, this is company versus company. There's a lot on the line in every one of these matches coming up,
Yeah, I mean, as far as on our end, we put faith in all these guys to pull for our team. We pick the best of the best that's at our show. And, at the end of the night, I mean, like I said before, either way this goes, it's not going to be a loss for Premier Pro. But, hey, I hope we come out on top. And the biggest match of the night that it's going to be is definitely going to be the girls' match. I mean, I chose 3 from my side. That is what I consider some of the best right here in our area. And there's no doubt that $1 Million Baby, Autumn Marie, and Little Bit is 3 of the best.
Yep, I agree with you on that. Look, Aaron Roberts, I think this is what that post meant. He said, keep stroking it. So I'm thinking maybe that little fist deal, I don't think it was props, man, from the way it sounds like. He said, keep stroking it. So I think maybe there was a little more to that there. We got another comment from Crystal Sharble. She says, WLW is amazing. Leland does a great job. Best show ever was Fort Leonard Wood. All right, That's what I want to talk about. Not specifically Fort Leonard Wood, but just WLW in general. Now I noticed lately over the past 6-7 months or so, you've been hitting there on a regular basis. You've been active on a lot of their shows lately, man. Tell us about WLW, what it's like there, and what it's like working there, and some of the talent. Tell us about some of the talent there.
And okay, so like I tell this to anybody that ever asked me about WLW, I was a huge fan of Harley Race. Like when I first got coming up into the business, even long before that, but I watched a lot of tape on Harley Race. You can't knock the guy because he was one of if not the toughest men in professional wrestling at one point, and had classics, helped make I don't know how many guys the stars they are today, whether it be Ric Flair, Dusty, guys like that he had a hand in helping them become who they are. Years ago, I had an opportunity to do the Harley Race camp, and something fell through. I didn't get to do it, so I was always to get there, and it just so happened, he passed before I could get there.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the last true tough guys in the business.
Right. And so Brandon Espinoza, I don't know how many people know Brandon or Espy. He's one of my close friends. We were going to have a battle royal, or there was going to be a battle royal a year ago. Actually, a year ago, 2 weeks ago. And Leland had wanted a tag team. Was going to use me and Bruce as Beer 30. We were going to come in. We were going to do the battle royal, but it was going to lead to something else. One of those stories where Bruce forgets the date. It just so happened to be his son's graduation. So if that goes into what Bruce will forget. But, I went, I made an impression. I didn't really know a lot of the guys. I knew Brandon, and I knew the group Dysfunction. I knew of a lot of the guys, Leland, obviously. Then I started, coming back as a regular. You asked me about the guys. One of the best factions around right now is Dysfunction. Not only WLW, they're doing OVW. They're doing, they're traveling all over the place. They're phenomenal. Their promos and their videos are probably some of the best in indie wrestling today. Leland, to me, is one of the most underrated wrestlers around. He is, when you get to learn under, your father and learn everything you can learn from Harley, but he doesn't get enough credit. The show is. Go ahead.
He's a super talented guy. I got to see him live the first time maybe 2 years ago at an NWF show.
Right.
Ron Spence brought him in, and he's a talented guy in the ring, man. He's highly talented.
Now, as far as like some of the other ones go, like I haven't, I knew of guys, and you meet them when you get there. Carmelo Jackson, who's worked for like 01 Pro that, Aaron and Zay's worked for. He's, they call him the Quad Father, and I mean his quads are huge and strong as can be. Like in that battle royal, the first time I was there, the first guy to ever put me over his shoulders and squat me 3 times, then slam me.
Damn.
Like, he just, he's super talented. Even, and I say this about WLW. Not only is the production itself really good, not only is the shows always packed out, Leland does such a good job in training the guys coming up, the next guy up. And I've got a chance to work with guys that are, having their first, second, third to, 10th match. And, they wrestle better than some guys around here. And I'm not throwing names out, but like, wrestle better than some guys around here that's been wrestling for 20 years. Yeah. Like when they come out of the school, the Harley Race Academy, they're ready to wrestle. They're ready to hit the road. They're ready to, they're ready to be somebody. It's not hey, throw you out to the wolves, figure it out. These guys have already got it figured out. There's a kid named Billy the Kid who, I know Crystal Schraber will probably chime in here and say, I love Billy, who I've been wrestling for the past 3 months. And each match I've watched him just grow and grow and grow and grow. And, she mentioned Fort Leonard Wood. I'll never, like in my life, experience another show like that. We did the show at Fort Leonard Wood, which is the Army base in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and in front of I think it was 1,100 or close to 1,400 fans, but they were all military personnel or military family. And man, like the PA system went out right off the bat of the show. The whole U.S. Army boot camp is singing the national anthem. During your match, they're going into cadences. During my match, one side would yell "fuck," the other side would say "you" because I'm a bad guy there. And, and then that same night, I got to work with Bob Orton, which again, I was always a Harley Race fan, but not only was I a Harley Race fan, I was also a Roddy Piper fan. So to be able to work with Bob, to be able to talk about Piper, but also talk about some of the things that to pick his brain, thing that he things that helped him along the way that could help me. That's one thing I love doing too. And man, I'm telling you, like everybody wants to talk about me being stiff, snug, tight, whatever. Take a punch from Bob Orton and see, compare his punches to my forearms and see which one wins. Because that old man lit me up, and I say old man because next time I catch him and stuff, he's either going to catch this knee or catch this forearm.
Well, look, I got a Bob Orton story. I not worked with him like in the match, but I was on some shows with Bob Orton in like 1993 in Texas. Before Randy Orton, matter of fact, he was in the dressing room talking about his son had just got out of the military and that was wanting to get into business, and which obviously that turned out to be Randy Orton. But look, so we're in the Austin Coliseum in Texas, and we brought our ring, so obviously we had to set the ring up the day before. But after the show, usually back then ain't nobody letting the ring set in the building overnight. It's like when the show's over, get it out, because if the longer you stay, the more I have to pay. So after the show, Bob Orton, man, he took a liking to me, and he wanted me to go drink with him, go to the bar with him. And look, I'm young, I'm green. Me and Sam are down there, and we're young and we're fucking green as hell. And I had to help him take the ring down. Bob Orton asked me over and over, man, why don't you come drink with me? Worst fucking mistake, one of the worst mistakes I ever think I made in the whole wrestling business was not going and drinking with Bob Orton. My brother, me and him's talked about that since then, and me and him both, he was like, man, he said, I should have told you just go on and I'll handle it, because, man, when you got a guy like Bob Orton wanting you to go have a drink with him and wanting to take some time with you, man, that's an opportunity that never comes again sometimes. And that's one of the biggest regrets I have in my whole wrestling career, is not going to drink with Bob Orton that night in Texas when he wanted me to. And I mean, he asked me several times. I told him, I said, Mr. Orton, I'd love to, but it's just me and him, and we got to it's our ring, and we got to take it down, which he understood. But I wish I'd have left my brother and went on to the bar with Bob Orton. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, you just don't get them opportunities. And when you got a veteran like that, that sees something for whatever reason, he wanted to take up some time with me for, I don't know why. I guess there was just something about, well, back then it was started enough where I had all the old school K&H gear. I wore a mask at the old school Mr. Wrestling 2 red mask, and all night once I got dressed, he kept just looking at me. But I think it had a lot to do with it was probably reminding him of back in the day how mass wrestlers used to look and used to dress. And man, if any veteran like that ever asked anybody to go out, drink with them, or do whatever, try your best to go do it, because I regret it to this day. It's one of the biggest regrets I have in my wrestling career is not going hanging out with Bob Orton that night, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say the same thing. Anytime you get the opportunity to be around some of the guys that's paved the way for you, like, man, go out, pick their brain, listen to them, listen to their stories. Like, because you're never going to get you may not get that experience or that chance again to do it.
Yeah.
That was what was cool about Fort Leonard Wood. Just being back there with Bob Orton, Matt Seidel, who was, Evan Bourne and JB, him too. Like, that was really cool.
All right, guys, look, we got a couple comments. The Barbecue Man says Harley Race was the greatest. And hey, I ain't going to argue with him. Harley Race was one of my favorite wrestlers. Like I said, he was one of the very last of the true tough guys in wrestling, You said Crystal would chime in. She says, love Espy, great guy.
Yeah.
We got Brandon Hatcher's back, and he said, I seen Aaron perform. I was in shock. Hey, Aaron, like I said, he can do things that guys his size just don't normally do, He's a hell of a talent. And we got another one from Crystal. She says, Billy is my spirit animal. I love that kid. Now, let me ask you something about this kid. Is he a long-haired guy? Black hair?
You've seen him. He was in Arkansas with Leland that night.
Exactly. I was going to tell you that. Matter of fact, he went against Leland in one match and somebody else in another.
Oh, my God. And he's come a long way since the first time I seen him. But, look, I'll admit, like, what Crystal said, like, that's something I've said about Billy. This kid is my spirit animal, too. Like, just a guy that, nothing phases this guy. He's always, like the most delightful person to be around. He enjoys every moment. He enjoys being wherever he's at. That's exactly where he's supposed to be, and he's going to enjoy being there. And that's like, it's rare to find. Like, I've never seen him in a bad mood. Funny story, pulled up one day to Troy to do the TV taping. I'm outside. I just look, and Billy's, like, it's kind of cloudy outside, but there's a little bit of peak of sunshine, and it just, for whatever reason, found this kid, and he's just standing there. And like, I don't partake in like any extracurricular things other than drinking, but you just look and like, it's just, this kid's just like this, almost like Jesus-like or God-like, just let the sunlight hit him. And to me, I'm like, man, this dude is just at peace with the world. Like, I wish I could get to that point, but and then go in, and I've watched him. I say, like, the thing that stands above, like, watching all these schools and these academies is, like, guys come out of there, and I've seen guys from Seth Rollins' or girls and guys from Seth Rollins' academy. They're not prepared for indie life. They're not prepared for their first probably 10 matches. Like, they have to kind of learn as they go. Kind of the same way it was for me. And I know probably the same way it was for you. Like, we had to learn as we go. But, man, for whatever reason, Leland does such a great job with these guys that, they know what to expect. Yeah, there's still a learning curve. And for Billy, there was a learning curve. But, like, I think I started with him in, like, match number 5, number 6. And I was blown away. I'm like, dang, this kid is, like, leaps and bounds farther ahead of guys that I know are starting out, around here. And I took that back to my training, that, like, me going back into the people that I've trained. And it just so happens that I've got a trainee that's got 50 matches in. And he actually got to debut on WLW last week, Jordy Randall. Yeah, that's one of my guys. I don't tell a lot of people that because he's an asshole. And I'm liked by a lot of people. But, yeah, man, so you kind of can't be like, oh, we associate with each other. But no, he's one of my guys. I'm super proud of what he's doing. His gimmick is a compose. He's a
Yes.
composer because he's a school teacher in Arkansas. He's a music teacher, and man,
Ah.
I mean, to me, when I look at gimmicks and I look at like a heel, like I want to hate you. I want to hate you instantly. What can you
Yeah.
do to make me hate you as soon as you walk out the curtain? And man, this guy walks out the curtain and instantly, like, and no offense, I know probably there's some kids probably watching this, but instantly I'm like, fuck this guy. Like, and that's as a fan. Like, I'm like, there's something about you that just makes me want to punch you in the face. Like, and wants you to lose. And I think that's one of the lost arts now today. Like, all these heels want to be liked, and I don't. Like, when I'm a good guy, love me. When I'm a baby face, love me, let me. I want that as a baby or as a heel. No, I'm going to say anything and everything. I'm not changing the way I wrestle. Like, I may do it for a minute, but I'm still wrestling the same way as I do as a baby face, and then I'm just gonna, as I'm beating up on your beloved hero, I'm gonna smile while I'm doing it, and I'm gonna talk a lot of shit because you're not gonna climb in here and help this baby face. This baby face ain't gonna help herself. Like, sorry, like there are perks of being the biggest guy in the room. Ask Aaron Roberts, like he'll tell you. Like,
Yeah, I'm all for heels that want to go out and get real heat. Man, here's the thing. If you're a cool heel, then you're really a fucking baby face. It's as simple as that. I mean, there ain't no in between. That look, as great as the NWO angle and everything about it was, and it kind of, I mean, a lot of people have forgot about it, but without no NWO, there wouldn't have been no DX or no Attitude Era because the NWO sparked all that. But they also, in turn, changed the way the guys coming in the business seen the business, in a sense that when I was brought in, if you were a heel, you wanted to be booed. You wanted to get heat. You did what you could, whatever it took up to that point of crossing the line, to get heat. You didn't want to be liked. You didn't want to be a cool heel. You wanted everybody booing your ass. And the NWO kind of changed that. And one of the bad things, I mean, they kind of exploded the second explosion of the wrestling business after the 80s, but we're still stuck with now every heel wants to be Scott Hall. Every heel wants to be Kevin Nash. Every heel wants to be a cool heel. And if you're a cool heel, you're really a baby fucking face. To me, it's as simple as that.
I mean, Buster, and here's the thing with me, and this is something I talked about. I talked about a little bit last week on Wrestling Land. And T-PAYNE said it tonight. Baby faces sell T-shirts, heels sell tickets. Like, and
That's
by
right.
God, you go around to all these, these smaller promotions in indie wrestling. What's the problem you see? Like, I can go to each promotion, and by the end of a match, I'm like, so that guy wants to be a heel. Like that, that's not. He wants to be cool. Like, he wants to be liked. Too many guys are going out here and want to be liked and get pussy at the end of the night, and that's not me. Like, if I'm a heel, I'm a heel. Like, I'm gonna. I don't care if you like me. I'm not worried about selling my damn T-shirt at the end of the night. Like, I'm worried about making money. I'm worried about making the company money.
Hey, look, let's be all fair now. There was a bunch of fucking awesome heat-getting heels that also got a lot of pussy at the end of the night. Now,
I mean, would be in Flair, obviously, but but that's the thing. Like, them guys, like, and I look at you talk about NWO, and I agree. NWO kind of changed it for what a heel looks like because they become cool. They become baby faces. But you look on the other side of like WWE or WWF at the time, Austin was a heel. Like, everybody remembers, like, he was a really good heel. Like, him and Bret Hart had some of the best, some really good matches where they hated Austin. They wanted to see Bret win. But then one thing changed it. Austin cut the promo, the Austin 316 promo. And then, that kind of registered with the crowd, like, oh, this is pretty cool. And all he was doing was just talking. And then, it fast forward, they're wanting to sell the T-shirts, And then who doesn't want to say "fuck my boss"? Like
Yeah.
you put somebody that you put me, you put anybody, you put any heel that is a true heel, true heat getter. You put them in that circumstance, and you go, "Hey, man, fuck you. Like I'm not doing this. Like I'm overworked, underpaid. Like fuck you." Well, guess
Yeah.
what? Everybody in that company is gonna love that person. Like, he just got put in and that was the thing. Like that was always the difference between me, as a fan was I was like, I like NWO.
All right, y'all. I don't know what happened there. JPJ's internet mail went out.
Yeah, I
There
got
he
you.
is. He's back.
Yeah,
He's back.
yeah. Somebody tried calling me. Actually, it was Harry Clapp who trying to call me. But
Hey, man, I'm going to tell you right now, look, you can get the David Clapp, you can get the Carl Clapp, but you don't want to catch that fucking Harry Clapp. I'm going to tell you right now, dude.
Never don't. No, they both actually. One's text me, the other one said call me, and then he beeped in. But no, man, yeah, I just think like as a fan growing up, I always liked Austin a little better than I did the NWO because I believed like he was a true heel, like he was going out to get heat. It just so happened that he got so much heat that it turned him babyface, but they did it the right way. Whereas NWO.
Go ahead, Jay. Well, look, talking about Austin and Bret Hart, and truthfully now I don't remember which came first, the promo or the match, but the match where Austin passed out in the blood in the sharpshooter, the double turn,
Right.
where at the beginning of the match Austin was a heel, Bret Hart was a babyface, but by the end of the match, everything changed that night for Austin. By the time that match was over, he was covered in blood. He didn't tap. He passed out. When he finally got up and got gone, he was a babyface right then. And
Right.
I think, I think that was probably 100% their plan for it to go like that. But man, you got to think back at that time. One place Bret Hart would be the babyface. And Austin would be the heel. Then you'd liable to go somewhere else, and Austin would be hated, and Bret Hart would be getting fucking cheered, or Austin would be getting cheered, and Bret Hart would be getting booed. It was a crazy time in the wrestling business at that time, man.
Right, but the good thing about it is you look at indie wrestling and you look at like even the circumstances with me, like here in Arkansas and other places, I'm a true babyface. Like I'm loved and the crowd loves me, and but I go to Trenton or I go to Troy and, they hate me. They hate my guts. Well, same way, Austin had to go up to Canada with Brett, Brett's home and be like, they're going to hate me and I'm going to play the part, and it was a crazy time because they're having to play that part. But, I just thought, and the promo actually came first. The promo came first. Brett was off at the time, but, when Brett came back, Austin was still a heel. It just got to a point where it's like, look, the crowd's starting to love this guy. We've got to turn him. NWO was never like that. They were like, all right, well, we probably need to turn him, but they're heels, but we want to keep them heels. Well, like, all right, do you want to make money or do you want to? And don't get me wrong, the NWO made a lot of money. Them three original guys, they made a shit ton of money off the NWO. But how much more money could you have made if you kept it to them just being healed? Like how many more?
If they would have been in the WWF and had Vince McMahon overseeing what was going on and been able to let do what was needed to be done instead of what the guys wanted to do, because I mean, everybody knows WCW apparently was those guys could pretty much do anything they wanted to. Contractually, they had the power to deny stuff, just outright turn it down. It's hard to run a wrestling company successful when all your talent can't have all the control. There's got to be a guy somewhere that has the control that says no. I know it may sound good to you, but this is what we're going to do because this is what I believe is best for the business right now. This is what we need to do.
And I've heard different stories through the line about the NWO, and don't get me wrong, we all know that Hogan had he had control over anything he did. Nash did too. So did Hall. Like if somebody got paid X amount of dollars, and it was going to
Yes.
be more than Nash or Hall or Hogan, then Nash, Hall, and Hogan got paid the same way. And it's just you know, and I think the downfall started with Goldberg. Uh, you know, just to me, the story never made sense of why it was Nash, and then you do the whole finger poke of doom, and then you bring Jeff Jarrett in, who I love Jeff Jarrett. Especially heel version Jeff. It's probably the best version. And then you do the finger poke of doom too, and it's just I think right around the time that they ended the streak for Goldberg was the time that NWO started taking that downward slide, because it just showed that NWO and WCW had the power.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a smart move to beat Goldberg at that time. He should have won. He should have won the belt and had a good run with it, because you had the NWO over here, this powerful faction, but then you had this guy who was all right. Him and Steve Austin always get compared back then, but I never really seen it that way. To me, they were two totally different guys. Bill Goldberg was patterned more after the MMA guys, the Ken Shamrocks, the guys like that. Stone Cold is Stone Cold, pure professional wrestler, pure.
Well, I know that Stone Cold had the system behind him, had the big company behind him. By the time at one point, but everybody forgets that Steve Austin could wrestle his ass off at one point.
Yes, he had the system behind him because he earned that. That's just he earned that. It wasn't like they just seen him and said, well, hell, that they popping on the Austin 316 selling a lot of shit. Look, you can put guys in that spot, but they still have to have the talent to handle that spot and carry that spot.
Absolutely. And like Austin could go out there and give you a 45-minute match. Hell, he could go a 60-minute Broadway if he wanted to. Before he got his neck, broke his neck. But then you had Goldberg over here, who was just this big monster who was super strong, super athletic, but couldn't go longer than 13 minutes in a ring. And, so what do you do? Like, WCW did the right thing behind Goldberg. Like, don't expose his weaknesses. Keep it to his strengths. Then you had Austin over here, who, like, once he broke his neck, like, his career actually took off even higher than it was even with the Austin 316, because that's when the Vince stuff started happening. But it's so crazy because I know they get compared, but there's no comparison. Like Austin, Goldberg, because of the way they booked him, made money.
Right.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, because of who he is, the way he works, and then having the system behind him, that's how he made money.
Well, he was a total package. He could do it all, where Bill Goldberg, like you said, once it got past 3-4 minutes, that's when once he was exposed, you kind of killed his aura right then. They should have never, ever exposed him. Look, I ain't big on streaks like that, but he was the right guy at the right time at that time. I think they should carry. I think just like they milked Hulk Hogan turning heel with the NWO for all it was worth, I don't think they milked Goldberg for all they could have got out of him by. Look, here's the thing: the finger poke of doom killed the whole shit, but he'd already somewhat been exposed a couple of times before that with guys in the ring that he couldn't go long, and if it went longer than a certain amount, that he had issues with that. And like I said, to me, there never was a comparison, even in the look. The only way they looked alike was they were both fucking bald-headed.
Bob had to go too. That was it.
Look, let's get a few of these comments. Crystal Sharble says Bob Orton was an amazing time. That punch was epic. Sweet man to meet. and it was an honor. I'm assuming you know what punch she's talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So you
I
caught
know.
you caught that Bob Orton shot. You
Yeah, I
lucky.
caught.
You lucky he didn't have that fucking cast on still, man.
No, you can't go out there with the legend and talk shit and be like, tell him it was an honor to meet me. Man, oh God, like, I talked a lot of shit that night and then you know, got my ass whooped by Bob Orton.
Hey, it's an honor to get your ass kicked by a legend like Bob Orton, dude. You know,
Yeah, but I mean, he snuck up on me though. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have, an old man like that. It doesn't matter. Like, I talked a lot of shit about you, and I had a chance to win that match. Yeah, it was by any means necessary, right? That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to win a match by any means necessary. I've seen my opportunity, and that old man thought different of it. And, I caught three pieces. The ref didn't ring the bell for whatever reason. I should have been disqualified. I should have beat WLW's former heavyweight champion that night. But instead, 1,400 people got to watch Bob Orton kick my ass because he snuck up on me. Which I mean, I can't say snuck up on me. I heard his joints popping when he snuck up. But
all right. You'll be catching that shot again somewhere, man. Now he spent the biggest run in his career was fucking all straight heel shit. So,
right.
hey, just cause people are cheering him and shit, don't mean he still ain't got all those dirty tactics that he always had.
Here's the crazy thing. He works at SICW up in Illinois. Well,
Yeah.
the Hustlers up there, and him and Tony Atlas beat the Hustlers for the tag belt. Like, and I'm like, who is letting this old man wrestle? Like, good Lord. Like, Bob, barely got to the ring. And like I said, like, I could say he snuck up on me, but he really didn't. I heard the joints pop. I turned around, and there he is. And, he sucker punched me. That's what happened. So anytime anybody brings up Bob Orton, like, yeah, Bob Orton was cool, but,
But fuck him, huh?
But fuck Bob Orton, dirty old man, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, you can't sneak up on somebody like that and then, cost them a match. Like, it had nothing to do with you. Just because I went out there and, made fun of you and for a 2-minute, mic spiel doesn't mean that you have to interrupt my whole entire match. Yeah, fuck Bob Orton.
Look, Crystal Parker says he always has a smile on his face.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, I think that's about me. I hope that's about me because it's kind of truthful. Ever since the Bob Orton deal, I haven't had a smile on my face, but I'm starting to get it back. And also, like, I tried to hide the beard too because when I didn't have it, I didn't want to smile because I have these big dimples on both sides. But no, like, in all reality, like, the whole Bob Orton thing, that was an experience like I'll never forget in my life. Wrestling Michael Elgin was another experience that I'll never.
Elgin, one of the top guys. Even now, he ain't at the top no more, but
right.
Talent wise, he's still one of the fucking top guys in the ring in the whole wrestling business. I mean, he can go. You and Elgin kind of look alike. Truthfully, I mean, y'all are built alike. When y'all both get in the ring bald headed, yeah.
Here's the thing. I gotta look. I look like Ryback. I look like the witch version of Goldberg, and I look like Michael Elgin. And Aaron Frobel, which is Michael Elgin, is like a really good friend of mine. We talk 2 or 3 times a week. When we were booking him in Arkansas, we talked every week. Went to the gym together when he really good guy. A lot of knowledge. That's one reason I loved him down here. I soaked up the knowledge, but also my training soaked up the knowledge that he could teach them. But as far as talent goes, there's not much better.
Yeah.
You know, but I got to say something, and Buster, I'm going to have to get off here in a minute.
Okay.
I see Luke Justice up there on the thing.
Yes, we got a few more comments. He says he'll sell tickets and Babyface to sell merchandise.
Where the fuck was he at when we said that 3 times already?
Well, that comment's been on here a while. I just didn't want. I don't just throw them up every time they come up because I don't want to interrupt whatever the guest or we're talking about.
Right.
We got a couple more comments and then we'll get you off here, dude. Luke, Crystal Sharble says, Luke, buddy, you are so right, which I agree with that. I mean, he'll sell tickets. It's always been that way. Hey, a babyface champion is really at his very peak the night he wins the title. And that's just the honest truth. It always works better when you've got a babyface chasing the heel champion. You always business seems to always be better when you got it like that. And then here Luke Justice come back. And he said nowadays wrestlers forget to work off the emotions of the fans nowadays and just they just want to get their shit in, which I mean it's a big problem. It's definitely a problem.
It is. Like, a really big problem.
Well, Jack, look, man, we're going to have to get you back sometime because I had some more stuff that I wanted to get with you about, but we can come back. I got plenty of stuff for another show somewhere down the line. Man, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it, dude.
I appreciate it too, man. Yeah, let's definitely do it again. Like I said, I'm sorry about the first 30 minutes of me being.
It's all right.
I'm glad that I got to see T-PAYNE and stuff. I think I'll probably see him Saturday night, hopefully. But no, man, yeah, for real. Like, I'm going to come back. Just, give me some dates and, come on. If you need me to co-host one night, I'll be on. Like, I cuss a lot, I'm passionate about this business and like, I love every bit of it.
Dude, I'm a cusser too, man. I couldn't talk if I couldn't cuss. Look, hey, motherfucker is my favorite word. So
mine too.
So look, Jack, why don't you tell everybody where you're gonna be this weekend, and if you got social media where promoters out there may want to book you, why don't you do that, and then we'll get you on the road, man.
Man, yeah. So this Friday night, I will be in Osceola, Arkansas, MCW. Saturday night, Trenton, Tennessee, at TIWF. This month is pretty much kind of staying at home. As far as like, Osceola and Trenton, that's pretty much what I got. But yeah, man, catch me, Jack Parker Jr. on Facebook. I think everything else is pretty much the same on every other social media platform. TikTok, something to do with Beer 30. Just look up JPJ. You'll see some highlights of the Good Night Knee or Night Knee. But yeah, man. Just catch me. Go support local indie wrestling. Go support wrestling. There's a lot of big shows that are happening this weekend. There's a lot of big shows. Not only TIWF is running, but you got and MCW for me, but you got Premier running. You got all these shows that are running. Go support it. Like if you're close to a wrestling show and you want to get out and have a good night, man, go to your local wrestling show. Support them guys. They're every one of them's hungry for not hungry because they want money or hungry because they don't eat, but they're hungry for this business, and
that's right.
And we thrive off the fans. The more fans that are in the building, the better product that you're going to have. Because I know, Buster, you've been there where you've been in front of 5 fans compared to 500, and I mean it's a lot better in front of 500. And I know the old adage 5 or 500. Yeah, you still got to go out there in front of 5, but you'd much rather go out there in front of 500 because it does something to you when you're out there in front of 500.
That's right. The fans, like you said, the fans fuel us. When you're out there and the adrenaline's flowing and them fans are rowdy and they're cheering and they're booing and they're spitting and throwing shit or whatever they're doing, we feed off all that, dude. So, we need it. Like he said, go out and support indie wrestling, y'all. Jack, thank you so much, and I wish you luck this weekend. I know you got 2 big matches, so we'll see, man. I hope you come out both nights as intact with your heavyweight titles, dude.
Man, I appreciate it. And Buster, I look forward to seeing you down the road, brother.
Yes, sir, man. You take it easy.
You too.
All right, y'all. Turned out to be a great show after all. Started a little slow. I'm glad my man T-PAYNE come in, saved the day for me. I wasn't expecting to have to be on long by myself. Next time I'll be a little more prepared. Don't forget, go support indie wrestling like Jack said. Look, this Friday night you've got Premier Pro Wrestling in Tennessee versus New South Pro Wrestling in Dyer, Tennessee at the Dyer County Fire Department. Big ass show, man. Go check it out. If you love top-notch pro wrestling, go check this show out. Friday night, you got Big Jack Parker in Osceola, Arkansas, in a heavyweight title unification match with Big No Pity Smitty. These two guys are two big bulls going to go at it. Jack Parker's got a big weekend ahead of him. We'll see if he can make it out intact with both of his heavyweight titles. Go to Osceola. If you're anywhere around Arkansas, go to Osceola, Arkansas every Friday night. Every single Friday night, bell time 8 p.m. Go check it out. Saturday night, always TIWF. Bell time 7:45, 8 o'clock, maybe 7:30. Depends on what Randy's got going on. Always a killer show there. Jack Parker's defending his heavyweight title this Saturday night against Big David Dane. So any fans around West Tennessee here, come out to TIWF. Check out Big Jack Parker take on Big David Dane in the main event for the TIWF heavyweight title. Check out Premier Pro Friday. Check out MCW Friday. And there's a ton of other shows throughout Arkansas and Tennessee. Guys, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all know how this has got to end. Y'all ain't got to go home, but you motherfuckers got to get out of here. Peace. We're out.